It's been several hours and one day since we lost you, Sinead O'Connor, and you will be greatly missed. Nothing compares to you. Hi everyone. Yesterday, Vlad came to me and he told me that a great artist and a beautiful human being had passed away just a few hours earlier. And I asked who it was, and he said it was Sinead O'Connor. And I said, I've heard that name. Somehow I know the name. I knew she was a singer, but I could not place, and I still don't know exactly. Have I heard her? Have I seen her? I don't know. Somehow I know the name. Maybe I've read something in the news about her at some point. Maybe she sang with somebody that I know at some point. I don't know. And so I did a bit of reading about her. And we talked about her throughout the evening and read different things about her. And I just have a little summary of who she was. She consistently spoke out on issues related to child abuse, human rights, racism, organized religion, and women's rights. Throughout her music career, she spoke about her spiritual journey, activism, socio-political views, as well as her trauma and mental health struggles. And I began to form a picture in my mind of who she was and what she accomplished and what she stood for. And I appreciated it. It's true, I don't really know her work. And yet, after doing all that reading, I do have an appreciation for her, what she stood for, and who she was. Now, after I was reading about her and I learned that she gave a performance on American TV many years ago, which really struck a blow to her career, at least in this country, because she made a very rather shocking, direct presentation, which included a protest against the child abuse within the Catholic Church. And one of her moments that really took everyone's breath away and shocked everyone was when she tore the picture of Pope John Paul II. And from what I understand, it really had a detrimental impact on her public image and career. A lot of people felt that she had gone too far, that she had not behaved in a way that was respectful. And anyway, that was 9 years before Pope John Paul finally admitted to the things that she had been protesting and calling attention towards. And so she was definitely a brave, pioneering spirit in advocating for the victims and for the addressing of this horrendous problem. And then Vlad and I watched her performance a little bit later at Madison Square Garden, where she had been invited to perform at Bob Dylan's 30th anniversary performance. Now, in that performance, I have just recently watched it on YouTube on the screen. And she had planned to sing something else, and then the crowd was disturbed and protesting. There were a lot of jeers as well as applause. It was a mixed response, but it went on and on and on. And she finally motioned for the pianist to stop the introduction. She changed course and sang again this song, War, by Bob Dylan, at least partway through. Solo, unaccompanied, and above the noise of the crowd, until she came to the point where it spoke of, where she sang of child abuse. And then she cut her performance off at that point. It was really quite a powerful moment on stage from my perspective. And I appreciate her courage, her willingness to remain true to her principles, even in her public persona. And in spite of the fact that it wasn't necessarily advantageous to her career. Well, in her 2021 book, Rememberings, O'Connor said of that incident, "Everyone wants a pop star, see? But I am a protest singer. I just had stuff to get off my chest. I had no desire for fame." So she was, again, staying true to herself, preserving her integrity as a person, holding her convictions, staying true to what she believed was right. I admire that kind of person. I'm not getting into the politics, the details, or even the different views of these things. I am simply saying that as a person, I admire somebody who remains true and behaves honorably according to their convictions, even if that means jeopardizing an entire career. Well, that is the only song I'm aware of that I have heard her sing, and that performance. Now, as a sort of commemoration and recognition of and tribute to Sinead O'Connor, today I would like to sit down and do a first listen to what I understand is one of her biggest hits. And it is called "Nothing Compares to You." It's a song actually written and composed by Prince in 1985. Several years after Prince recorded it, Sinead O'Connor recorded a version of this song, which was released in early 1990, and that's the point at which it became a worldwide hit. That is what I'm listening to today, and I'm curious to see more of her work, and I'm also happy for the opportunity to offer this as a tribute and recognition to somebody who perhaps I'm not incredibly familiar with their work, and yet the little bit that I've learned in the past 24 hours, I can say that I have developed an appreciation for her work, and for who she was.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days.
Oh, that's a beautiful voice.
Since you took your love away. I go out every night and sleep all day. Since you took your love away. Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want. I can see who.
This voice is beautiful, and it's not just very pure and lovely in its sound, but she also has the ability to express the human emotions in a way that is very, very subtle and refined, and yet so arrow straight to the heart. Of course, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to comment on the lyrics and the music as her composition, because it's not her composition. But obviously, she's doing a fabulous job of interpreting this piece. I just do want to say that this first line, "It's been 7 hours and 15 days, really sets the stage for an incredibly intimate and raw, honest expression of one's emotional state after a breakup, because that seems to be what this is about. It's been 7 hours and 15 days. Usually, when we count hours and minutes and seconds, it's because something is incredibly significant and impactful, and every minute, every second, every hour that we live is a sort of eternity, is a sort of, there is this intensity to the experience that makes us acknowledge every one of those increments of time. And after a breakup or any other traumatic, emotionally devastating event, it makes sense to, well, any of us who have been through that kind of experience, we understand and we recognize ourselves in it, where the world goes on around us, but we are in this state of just trying to pull ourselves back together, just trying to get our bearings, find our footing again. And we feel the clock ticking. We feel the seconds passing. We feel the intensity of the emotions in those moments. And through those hours and those days and those weeks, even those months that pass, sometimes even years. Of course, it depends on the individual and the entire personal situation. But this opening line, it's been 7 hours and 15 days, is really an eloquent and very intimate way of setting us up to hear the emotional expressions of that time.
Since you took your love away, since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want.
Little things that I'm hearing in her voice and in her way of singing. Sing, since you've been gone. Do you hear the emphasis, the weight that she puts on the opening consonant of the word gone? Since you've been gone. And then she sings, I can do whatever I want, in this very free manner, as if there is a feeling of freedom, and yet her voice breaks at the end of the line. Whatever I want. As if, yes, I'm free, but then you hear her voice break in this way that it's almost crying, almost breaking down. And those are things that are so specifically placed. It's not just a stylistic element that, because we hear singers do these things because it's the style, or it's the fad, or it's the genre, and they get their voices to do these things. But I'm hearing right away, even as this song is just getting underway, that she's not doing it just because that's the style in which she's singing. She's doing it for specific, expressive, communicative purposes, which elevates it to an entirely different level in terms of artistic communication.
Been gone, I can do whatever I want. I can see whomever I choose. I can eat my dinner in a fancy restaurant.
You can almost hear the restaurant vibe there.
I said nothing can take away this blues, 'cause nothing compares to you.
You hear the warmth in her voice when she sings, but nothing, I said nothing can take away. And then it becomes cold and straight when she sings these blues. Again, it's little details of how. Not just the fact that she does apply, because we hear singers do these things, but how and when and where she changes her voice. She colors it, she shifts it, she modulates it, she shapes it and manipulates it so that what I'm hearing is a beautiful expression of this 7 hours and 15 days experience.
Nothing compares to you.
Again, it gets straight here and tight, as if when thinking of you, we still get a bit choked up and we still can't really think objectively.
Nothing compares to you. It's been so lonely without you here, like a bird without a song. Nothing can stop these lonely tears from falling. Tell me, baby, where did I go wrong?
Again, a couple other things. Like a bird without a song. And then you hear the background vocals, which to me made me feel like it was the breeze outside without bird song. It was the wind in the trees without the song of birds. Just this moment of, you hear it coming and going. Where are the birds? And then, again, right at the exact moment that is needed to really convey the intensity and the emotional state, she changes her tone. When she asks, where did I go wrong? It becomes a sort of desperate, intense, tension and questioning. Where did I go wrong?
Without a song.
Kind of cold and empty.
Nothing can stop these lonely tears from falling. Tell me, baby, where did I go wrong? I could put my arms around every boy I see.
It's kind of a feeling of power there. I can put my arm around every boy I see.
I went to the doctor and guess what he told me? Guess what he told me? He said, girl, you better try to have fun no matter what you do. But he's a fool, 'cause nothing compares to you.
Nice violin moment there. It's just this lonely line. Kind of. I like that violin thread in there.
All the flowers that you planted, mama, in the backyard, all died when you went away. I know that living with your baby
nice the way when she comes to the word try? She really opens and lets it carry on as if we're really keeping the door open. I'm willing to put effort into this. I'm really willing to step in and give it another try.
I know that living with your baby was sometimes hard, but I'm willing to give it another try. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you. Nothing compares,
It's almost
nothing compares.
in that moment there, it became very small, almost fragile, without strength in her voice.
Nothing compares,
So small and intimate.
nothing compares to you.
And you hear as it fades away, it's a slow fade, almost as if we're watching the clock go to the next hour and the minute hand begins to travel around again. And this experience continues on its way. A truly beautiful voice, but more than that, it's how she uses the voice. And I appreciated and I enjoyed the subtleties and the details and the poignancy which she placed in this music, in this song. It was a nice backing strings orchestral type sound, probably synth, but that's okay. And that one thread of the violin. You know, violin, personally, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with the violin. It can be so annoying, and at the same time, in other contexts, it can be so exquisite. And something about a lone violin playing some melodic line is so heartbreakingly beautiful. We hear it in Pink Floyd's The Wall. When we come to, is there anybody out there? And then as the guitar goes into its solo arpeggiated section, we hear this thin violin melody fading in and out, just a touch, and yet it does so much to make it all the more exquisitely painful. Same here. When that little violin came in, there was the same moment of, oh, that is so beautiful, and it penetrates so deeply into our being, simply by the way it's being placed and used there. Really a beautiful interpretation and rendition of the song. Everything from her voice to that special little violin and all that she brought artistically to this music. Well, after listening to this song, I can say that not only have I just come to appreciate her recently, in the past day, for her integrity as a person, as a human being, but also now, having heard this song, I can say that personally I recognize that she was an incredible artist, and that in her passing we have lost a beautiful voice and a beautiful artist and a beautiful human being. It's been several hours and one day since we lost you, Sinead O'Connor, and you will be greatly missed. Nothing compares to you.